First and foremost, we're going to be talking about how to increase the number of clients and or transactions you do. Obviously, that all leads back to how many leads you're generating. We're also going to be talking about how to increase the average unit of sale, making sure that you're only prospecting the right types of leads, because a lot of the mistakes that people make is that they prospect for too cheap of properties. And number three, we're going to talk about increasing how targeting the right type of clients, which is how do you make sure you're targeting the right type of clients that are actually going to transact versus the ones that are kind of just wasting your time, right? Who here doesn't want to waste any more time? I'm guessing it's just me. I'm guessing not. So let's talk about lead generation. Lead generation, for the definition, so everyone is aware, we're all on the same page. Lead generation is the process of generating consumer interest for a product or a service with the goal of turning that into an interest or a sale. So essentially, we're looking for interested parties. This is the biggest thing that people, I think, forget in the real estate business, right? We just, we call a bunch of people. My team makes about 250,000 cold calls a month. We get a lot of people on the phone, and then we speak to somebody, and they go, I'm open to selling, but it's got to be $3 million. And the broker or the wholesaler or the investor doesn't realize that the property is actually worth $1.5 million. And we start wasting all this time, energy, and effort with somebody who says that they would like to sell, but they don't realize that we're just wasting our time with somebody who actually just wants a completely overpriced number. Always keep in mind that we're looking for people who are interested in selling for a fair and reasonable price. That is the most important thing when it comes to commercial real estate. Unlike residential, which I feel like is a lot more obvious. In commercial, people don't, they don't realize how overpriced or underpriced it is upon the first conversation. Obviously, underwriting and other things we'll talk about another time, but we are specifically looking for motivated people. So what I want to do is real quick for everyone here who's paying attention, who are those who are live, put a number in the chat. I just want to know, how many leads are you generating on any given month? What is your average amount of leads you are currently generating on any given month? We got Karina first to the chat. Thank you so much for being attentive. I appreciate it. 4 to 6. Thank you, Jimmy. What else we got? Dropping the amount, just a number. That's all you need to do. I don't know what same means, but I'm guessing 4 to 6, maybe 5. 5. Okay, we got a lot of people generating around 5 leads a month. My intention is for all of you to realize an average agent who's making multiple 6 figures a year is generating somewhere between 30 and 40 leads a month. If you want to be generating multiple 6-figure years, net in your pocket, we need to be generating somewhere between 30 and 40 leads a month. Nice job. We got, I guess that's Nathaniel. Awesome, 40 leads. We like to see it. So obviously, if we start doing the math here, Alex Hormozi talks about this in one of his books. More leads, better leads, cheaper leads, and you want reliability, which means you're coming from a lot of places. So let's get down to brass tacks. Obviously, all of us want more leads. Well, where does more leads come from? How do we get more leads? Does anybody want to take a guess? Who wants to take a quick guess? How do you generate more leads? All right, Karina says calling, more calls. I like it. Let's be specific. More calls. Sure. I agree. Following up. I love it. So to be specific, we got more people, more volume of prospecting, more calls, more conversations. Great. Well, look, it sounds like most of us here understand how to generate more leads, but many of us are generating only 5 leads a month. So what's the big disconnect, right? Like, why are we, if we know that we need to be making more calls, is it that we're just not doing it? Like, what is the question here, right? And at least you're being honest. I appreciate that, saying you're lazy. I think dialer, consistency and prospecting. Consistency, I can see that. Okay, respect it. I respect the honesty. Right, we're going to talk about how to generate more leads. We're going to talk about how to get better leads. How about getting better leads? So that means you can make the same amount of calls, but you can get twice as many leads. We like to see that. Cheaper leads. How do you find the cheapest leads? Because there's obviously many ways of getting leads. Many people, obviously you could be prospecting, sure. But many people also spend a lot of money on mailers, paid advertising of any sort, and they don't get any leads from it, and they're wondering why. We're going to talk about all that today, and obviously common mistakes when it comes to lead generation. Number one is time management issues. So many people, just like we're even talking about here, people are, the consistency factor's off. They're not making enough calls. Lack of consistency is another one. Paralysis by analysis. They don't know what to say, who to say it to, where to find the lead list, where to upload the lead list. A lot of different challenges there. Inadequate tools. They don't have a script, right? They don't even have a CRM system. They don't have a dialer. They're trying to hand dial. A lot of big mistakes there. And last one is perseverance, right? Some people get started. A lot of you here have started. You started making your calls. Kudos to you. Big mistake is that people stop before they see massive levels of results, right? They get tired of the rejection over and over and over again, and they never achieve the results that they desire. So let's start this off with some best practices, daily targets. So I think that what a number of us need to start striving towards is some minimum metrics, right? I was talking about this on one of my videos recently, where we're talking specifically about raising our standards for minimum metrics. Calling, write down in the chat box, how many calls do you have on a given day, or how many conversations? You can even do that down below. How many calls or how many conversations are you having having on any given day? Write down in the chat, just a number is fine. 10 calls. Thank you. Karina's on her game today. I love to see that. How many calls, how many conversations are you having? 20 conversations per day, okay? 11, 8 to 10 conversations, 2% contact rate, okay? 20 calls, 1 lead scheduled, confirm call. 5 to 10, love it, okay? Well, listen, first and foremost, we need to be thinking about this in rules in minimum metrics that we can actually all mentally comprehend. If you're only doing, let's just say 5 conversations a day, you're never going to see massive levels of results. So if you're new to this business, I would tell you that, and we all realize at the very beginning of our careers, we're probably going to have to do more volume, right? More calls, more conversations, more time, energy, and effort spent in order to get a small result. But in the future, if you after doing this for 5-10 years, you could do a little bit less. You could do less calls, less conversations, and get a much bigger result, right? Because you will be much better at it. You'll know what you're doing, right? So at the very beginning of all of our careers, and many of us here are newer to the commercial real estate space, one of the minimum metrics we're going to work on, or many of the minimum metrics we're going to work on, is the mindset that the rule of 100. Right? So let me explain to you what my rule of 100 is. Alex Hormozi actually even talks about this in one of his books as well. I love the guy. This is about understanding that if you're going to do 5 or 10 calls a day, you're just never going to see results, and you probably shouldn't be in this business, right? I hope to God you have another source of income, just to be honest with you. But rule of 100 is like Alex Hormozi talking to one of a successful mentor of his many years ago, before he was super successful, and he was just talking about how many flyers he was putting up. Okay? Because Alex is like, oh, I'm going to go put up flyers. And he put up 100 flyers in a day, right? He put up all these flyers, and he didn't get any phone calls. And he's like, I don't understand why. And he ended up speaking to one of his mentors, and his mentor puts up 10,000 flyers a day. And he's like, how on planet Earth, how on planet Earth could I do that myself? He's like, oh, well, I have a team of people, and we all go out and we all put a bunch of flyers up, right? Long story short, and I'm not telling you to make 10,000 calls in a day, but I am saying it will take more effort to see a level of result than you really think it does. I'm telling you honestly and truthfully, just from my experience, it's going to take you a while. So you might not have to do 10,000 calls a day, obviously, but one thing that I did that I think helped me supersede my success faster than many other people is that my minimum standard was 100 conversations a day. 100 conversations a day. Now, many of you go, I would never do that, right? By the way, it took me 10 hours of calling. Now, look, I was young, right? I was like 22, 23 years old when I was doing this, but I was committed to doing whatever the fuck it took in order to become a millionaire. And I started making $100,000 a month 30 months into doing this. It took me 30 months to go from $0 to $100,000 a month. So I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying you have to do 100 conversations a day like I did, but I am saying what you're doing is not enough. So I would tell you right now on this phone call, your minimum standard every day should be at least 40, right? At least 40 conversations a day. And yes, by the way, it will take you 3, 4, 5 hours a day to do that. And yes, I am including follow-up, right? I am including follow-up calls in that conversation goal. So for all of you here listening today, I want you to write down what's your new number, what's your conversation goal. I know Robert Price has a crazy conversation goal every day because I know you're just pounding phones all day long, my man. I know you are. So I'm saying, but here, for everybody else who isn't Robert, because Robert, I'm guessing you're doing like 100 conversations a day. I've known you a long time. But everybody else here, what is our new number goal? What's our conversation goal we're going to have here? Everyone put it in the chat. What are you committed to for 2025? What's our minimum standard moving forward? Daisy says 50 a day. Nintendo says 300 a week. Love it. 40, 50, 40, 40. Love it. 40 a day. Love it. Okay, I love the commitment. Dan says 200 a week. 40 a day. Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Awesome. Next, let's talk about the amount of leads on a minimum basis before we get to the next point here, okay? Because what's important to understand is for lead quality, people fuck this up so much. And I'm just letting you know, I curse a lot. I'm from New Jersey. We talk fast. We move fast. We curse a lot. That's how I am. When it comes to lead quality, a lot of people screw this up. I know so many people who call leads when they're actually just a crap 12-month follow-up, where like just because they say, yeah, I'm open to selling doesn't mean it's a lead, okay? Right? Like to me, I'm talking about I want to generate 2 hot leads a day. I write down this little post-it. I know this is really tiny. I got to pin myself because I can't even see my little freaking... Here we go. I'm bigger now. Okay, here we go. I have this post-it note every single day. Okay, I write down a post-it note. At the top, I write down my the date. I write down 3 things. I might be inverted. Am I right? Am I the right way? Can you actually read this? Just want to make sure. So anyways, on this post-it note, it says 2 hot leads. That's my minimum goal per day personally. Then it says 2 LOIs. I want to write up 2 letters of intent today. And then it says 2 accepted offers, which is for my entire team. I want to get 2 accepted offers for the whole team every day. That is my minimum standard. I wrote down 2 vision goals, 2 long-term vision goals. I want to do $1 million in GCI a month net to me. And then $2 million cash in the bank is my minimum standard. So I like to make sure I keep it there. That's my vision goals, right? And then on the bottom, I have my goals. I said win the day at the very bottom. I have this written every single day, so I see it, and at the end of my work day, I can look at my post-it note and be like, shit, I didn't get my 2 hot leads. Back on the fucking phones I go. So I like to write that. That's my. I had this every single day. I go through so many post-it notes. My wife laughs at me all the time. Lead quality, you're gonna, I have to understand. Hey, what's actually a true lead? Is it ready to do something today, or is it somebody who's just kind of bullshitting with you and they want too high of a price and you got to stop wasting time? Number next is you need to be seller focused. Okay, all of you must be seller focused. If you want to make a lot of money in the commercial real estate business, you must be seller focused. Okay? Too many people here are like, oh, I'm going to go find a bunch of buyers. I don't give a shit about having buyers. Buyers are very, very important in this business, but if you don't have any seller leads, you'll never make any money. You could have 0 buyer leads. You could have 0, okay? And you can make, a ton of money still in this business, okay? Because you can call somebody like me who has all your buyers for you, but you need the deal. You need a deal. That's where you make your money. Initial contact. 100% of the time, begin with the scripted call. So if you do not have our script book, you need to make sure you download our script book. There's your script book. Download it. If you have not downloaded it yet, it is right there in front of you. You know exactly what to say, who to say it to. Productive systems. You must have a CRM. If you do not have a CRM, you're going to have a really tough time. Stop using Excel. If you want a business, you need to have a CRM. We use Follow Up Boss, by the way. If you're wondering, I use Follow Up Boss. I've used it for 10 freaking years. It's just what I use. For leads, you guys are going to need Reonomy, okay? I get all my leads from Reonomy. If you are interested in getting a discount on Reonomy, which is typically $400 a month, I can get it to you for $320 a month for my connection with this. I'm friends with one of the VPs there, so I can get it to you for a 20% off discount. And we also get, I believe they should be giving you 2,000 exports for your first month and then 1,000 exports every month thereafterwards. So you get an extra 1,000 exports and you get 20% off. It's a win-win-win. If you want Reonomy, you have to email me. info@henryeisenstein.com, subject line Reonomy. info@henryeisenstein.com, subject line Reonomy. 20% off, I'll get it for you. And you can set up automated text messages, automated emails. It's the best way you could possibly do it. So let's talk about this. When you're generating leads, right? Because there's so many different ways to do it. Of course, for me, I'm a big cold caller. I've been a cold caller nearly my entire career. For me, because that's one method, right? Cold one-to-one. You can do cold email. You can do cold calling. It does not matter, right? Like you can do, there's many versions of cold one-to-one. Then you have cold one-to-many. Cold one-to-many is essentially cold email blasts, right? Like you have a bunch of emails, you put it together, cold email blasts, or cold text blasts, right? You send out a bunch of, a massive amount of cold messaging to individuals, right? That also can include paid advertising. Cold one-to-many is also paid advertising. So if you're sending out, let's say, a bunch of mailers or Facebook ads, right? Like it's a cold audience, they don't know who the heck you are, you could do that as well. Then you have warm one-to-one, which is literally calling every single person in your something called a cell phone, okay? You could call everyone in your cell phone. You call everyone in your phone, and what I like to do is instead of asking for specific referrals, which is I also will do that, but most importantly, I like to call and ask for professional relationship referrals. So I want to call people who I know who have more referrals, right? So if I call up hypothetically my friend John, who runs a gym. He runs a gym. John runs a gym. I don't know. I'm friends with John. He's a personal trainer or something like that. I don't need to ask John for people who are looking to sell their commercial buildings, but I can ask John and say, hey, do you know an accountant? Because I know accountants know a lot of people who own commercial buildings, right? John, do you know a financial advisor? Because they probably have a lot of money and they might want to invest, right? Like I want to ask for professional relationships. And then you have warm one-to-many, which is social media, right? Like you posting content online. Biggest mistake I see people make when it comes to trying to lead generate on social media is that you're targeting the wrong fucking people. Think about the content you post on social media. Everything I post because I'm trying to recruit real estate agents to my sales team. That is why I post what I post, right? All of you are here today because I'm targeting every one of you because I'm trying to build the biggest commercial real estate sales team in the country. That is my vision. That is my goal. I don't need to have another lead. I'm not trying to target a seller. So my client, my audience, right? Like the content I create is for my type of avatar. So if you want to target a seller lead on social media, right, instead of other real estate agents, stop fucking posting just sold, just listed, just under contract. You're targeting realtors because no one else gives a shit. If you want to target a seller, right? Think about who the hell they are. It's a 50 to 80-year-old probably man, right, who lives in your area, right, who, has some serious amount of cash, so they're probably going to live in some nicer areas in town, right? So you can make specific content saying, how do you mitigate your tax basis when selling your property? And then guess what? You should interview a freaking accountant who can talk about that, right? Or a financial advisor. The point is, you should be providing value to that type of clientele if you want to target them. Because if you're putting out the right content, the wrong content, you're going to attract the wrong client. Number next. And by the way, realistically in this business, it's either you do one of all of those, right? Warm one-to-many, warm one-to-one, cold one-to-one, cold one-to-many. Alex Hormozi created that, concept. I just follow, I do a cold one-to-one, cold calling, right? Like that's what I do. I call up a bunch of people, right? And by the way, if you're like, I don't want to do any of those, then guess what? You have to hire people to do one of those for you because there's only so many ways to make some freaking money in this business. Don't overcomplicate how freaking simplistic this industry is. Number next, let's talk about scheduling and simplicity. Again, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat box down below. I know I talk fast, but again, we got 30 minutes here. I'm trying to cram as much freaking information in here as possible, okay? Routines. Let's talk about schedule because the biggest freaking mistake I see people make when it comes to lead generation is that they just don't make enough fucking calls. Right? Because they don't spend enough time, energy, and effort focused, right? So you got to do distraction elimination. Okay, this thing can either make you tens of millions of dollars or it can make you broke. If you use it to watch fucking Netflix, it will make you no money, okay? If you use it to make a lot of phone calls, it will make you a lot of money. Okay, but you have to realize there's a lot of apps. If you go to your screen time, right, go to screen time and check, hey, how many freaking, how much time did I spend on X amount of apps, right? And you go like, okay, of all the apps that I use the most, how many of them are actually making me money? Because if it's not your email, your text message, or a phone call, or a calculator, nothing else makes you fucking money, right? Like, so it's like everything else can be completely deleted off your phone, and you can continue to make money, right? And by the way, even for social media, look, all you have to do is delete Instagram, YouTube, X, all these other platforms. Delete them, and then on Saturday morning when you wake up, you can re-download it. Just during the week, you don't freaking need it, okay? Like, come on, we're grown freaking people. We don't need social media. Next, let's talk about the exact routine for scheduling, for prospecting. Okay, I'm going to rip through this quick schedule for you guys. Ready? 8 a.m. quick meeting with yourself, team meeting with yourself, okay? Every single one, I don't care if you have a huge team or you're by yourself, everyone, you should be doing a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning. And if you're like, that's too early, the only fucking people sleeping at 8 o'clock are real estate agents. That's it. The only people sleeping at 8 o'clock in the morning are real estate agents. So for fuck's sake, wake up a little bit earlier, okay? My first meeting starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it has for years. 8 o'clock in the morning, my first meeting starts. We do our 8 o'clock. It goes for 5 minutes or 15 minutes. It does not matter. Our meetings now typically even go 30 just because we have so many freaking people we have to go through. A lot of leads we got to talk about, everything that's going on. The point is we try to be in and out fast. And if you're by yourself, it could take you 5 minutes. And all you're going to cover really fast is you're going to go through red flags, what needs to be done before I start getting on the phones, red flags, deals falling apart, attorneys are killing something, a buyer's losing their fucking mind, a seller's pissed off, right? Like, what is some red flags? Number 2 is, what is my goal for today? What needs to be done today no matter what? By the way, I talked about it already. You write it on a fucking post-it note, okay? You talk about what goals you have today. And number 3, you're going to review everything you have in the in the pipeline. Pipeline, by the way, is under contract, actively listed, or a deal that you need to try to sell. Okay, you just want to know everything. You should have it on. You can be a Google spreadsheet. We have everything in a Google spreadsheet, and we have it in Follow Up Boss. And we built out something pretty cool using one of the Google's software. So anyways, we have it all in front of us. So I just want to be able to look at it. I want to know what the hell I'm talking about. I want to know what's in contract, what's in my pipeline, what's actively listed for sale, what do I have off market that I could be offering people right now and try to move a deal along. That's it, right? Because I got one of my things is to get 2 offers accepted. I need to know what I'm trying to get an offer accepted on. So I like to know that. By the way, like I said, it could take you fucking 60 seconds to run through everything, right? No red flags, great. What do I have to do today? 2 out leads, 2 LOIs, accepted offer, right? I'm just writing for myself. And then review everything you have in contract. You could have nothing in contract. You'd have 1 listing, whatever it is. Boom, boom, thanks, get on the phones. As soon as you're done with your meeting, you handle your red flags, and then you get on the phone. So you should be trying to get on the phone by at minimum 8:30. If it's 9 o'clock, you're already too late. In my opinion, 9 a.m. is already too late. Get on the phones before 9 o'clock, right? 8:30 a.m. should be the time you're in front of your office, you're at your desk, you're ready to make some calls. You do that till about 1 p.m., by the way. Okay, because we talk about making 40 freaking conversations a day. You're going to need some time. You're going to need probably 4 hours, 10 conversations an hour. There's your 40 your 40 conversations. After your 4 hours, by the way, because listen, most important thing in this business is generating leads. Okay, generate as many fucking leads as you possibly can. Secondary is everything else. At 1 o'clock, you're going to start your follow-up for about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much follow-up you have. And guess what you should be doing for the entire rest of your day? What should you be doing? You just generated some leads. You did your follow-up. What should you do the entire rest of the day? If you guess trying to get offers on your leads that you just generated this morning, you are correct. So the entire rest of the day, you either go on appointments or you're trying to sell the deals you have that are off market, ready to sell, or your listings, right? But again, prep time, you want to make sure you got your list already uploaded into Mojo. You want to get water. You want to go to the bathroom. You want to stand. I'm at a standing desk, right? I'm not sitting down. I like being at a standing desk. You can buy one on Amazon for $150. Whatever you need to do to get pumped up, that's it. By the way, if you need to take breaks after freaking 2 hours. Stop. Everyone's like, oh, you got to take a break. It's been 10 minutes. The fuck is going on? Makes no sense to me.